Hi guys, I hate it when other YouTubers speculate about watches that haven't hit the streets yet, but this is exactly what I'm going to do today, along with a little bitching and moaning about YouTube towards the end. So if you don't like it, you could just stop playing, you could hit the thumbs down, you could, complain about my complaining. I really couldn't care less at this point, so let's do it. The watch that I'm going to be talking about is the Hamilton Psr, which as of today, April 12th, 2020, is still due to come out at the end of the month. I'm engaging in this hypocrisy of speculation because I worry that my subscribers will get sucked into the vortex of hype before anyone has any real information about this watch. Any true James Bond lover has probably already seen the original watch that the Hamilton Psr is based on, the Hamilton Pulsar P2, worn by Roger Moore in the 1973 Bond film Live and Let Die. The Pulsar P2, in my opinion, was an awesomely cool watch that was released before digital watch technology was mature. You needed to press a button on the Pulsar P2 in order to see the time. In the early days of digital watches, this was the norm. This, understandably, didn't go over too well with consumers. The forthcoming Psr fortunately has an always-on feature, allowing you to read the display without pressing a button. The Pulsar P2 didn't have long-term success. Hamilton later tried to reinvent the Pulsar P2 with the Hamilton Pulsomatic, which had an automatic movement. The MSRP of the limited edition gold PVD coated version of the Psr is $995. The MSRP of the stainless steel version of the Psr is $745. I personally would not buy the gold-plated version, as I'm afraid to buy any watch with any type of gold plating, as I worry that the plating will come off. For those looking to buy the gold-plated version as an investment opportunity, I don't suspect that in the long term the limited edition gold-plated version will be that valuable. If the Psr is popular, Hamilton will just make more gold-plated versions that aren't numbered. I don't think numbering the Psrs will add that much to their value. I'm not a collector, this is just my feeling. The stainless steel version looks extremely sexy, but $745 seems like a hell of a lot of money for a quartz watch, even for what appears to be a very attractive watch. When I first saw a picture of the Psr, I thought to myself, what's the deal? Couldn't they have put a solar panel somewhere beneath that chunky slab of sapphire crystal? It could be that Hamilton and its parent company, the Swatch Group, is so out of touch that they lack viable solar quartz technology to put in the Psr. It could also be that either Hamilton or the Swatch Group thinks that the public is so naive and gullible that it would be willing to fork over $750 for a watch with an antiquated quartz movement. It's hard for me to imagine either Casio or Citizen releasing the Psr without a solar quartz movement. These companies would probably add Bluetooth and radio control as well. I might be willing to overlook the Psr's lack of a solar quartz movement if the battery had at least 7 years of life and the watch had a low power indicator. I would also want to know how much Hamilton would charge me if I sent the watch in for a battery change. I'm not going to let some rando jeweler replace the battery of a $750 watch, especially not in Vermont, where I live. Another big question I have about the Psr is bracelet adjustment. Hodinkee wrote an article about the Psr. It was a hype piece that gave me no useful information about the watch. The watch that Hodinkee was using was probably a prototype, so it's not necessarily going to be the same as the actual watch. From the photo in the Hodinkee article about the Psr, I can see that the bracelet has about twice as many links as an ordinary watch, so adding and removing links will probably let you adjust the width of the bracelet with a granularity of about 4 or 5 millimeters, rather than the standard of about 10 millimeters. Since the Psr uses a butterfly clasp, the watch probably doesn't have any micro adjusts. Micro adjusts typically give you a sizing granularity of 2 millimeters. So the big question about the PSR will be, does it have a half link? At $750, they sure as hell should give you a half link, but I wouldn't count on this happening. If it has a half link, you'll probably be able to size it properly. If it lacks a half link, it's going to be hit or miss whether or not this watch will fit properly. $750 is a lot of money to gamble on a watch fitting properly. Is Hamilton really crazy enough to release the PSR in the middle of a pandemic? I see no reason yet to believe they're not. Even if Hamilton releases the PSR after the pandemic, it will be interesting to see how the market reacts, if there is in fact a market left, as there will be mass unemployment. Even in a post-COVID-19 world, there might still be enough rich guys left wanting to buy the PSR, as well as opportunists looking to gobble up the inventory in order to cash in by flipping the watch at an inflated price, causing demand for the PSR to outstrip supply. If this happens, the price will initially go up, like they did with my Full Metal G-Shock, which had a street price that was nearly twice the MSRP at its peak pricing. I probably won't be reviewing the PSR as YouTube has decided to fuck me by depriving my channel of exposure. Since this channel is running on fumes as it is, and I've already lost one of my jobs due to the pandemic, I'm not going to risk a huge loss by buying a watch as expensive as the PSR. I risk getting punished by YouTube for a review of the PSR because my candor might hurt the feelings of the myriad of thin-skinned men who watch YouTube watch reviews in order to validate their purchases. Already there is a jerk-off on eBay selling the PSR on pre-order for $2,000. This person may not even be an authorized Hamilton seller. Don't get suckered into price gougers. My advice about buying the PSR is to wait. This is what I would do. Wait until the market settles and the price seems to stabilize. Wait until eBay gets nice and saturated with used PSRs. This might take 6 months to a year. I think it would be unlikely to see the street price exceed that of the MSRP over the long term. I think it's more likely that the street price will go down, though there's always the possibility it will go up over time. If you have questions about the watch that aren't answered by documentation, call Hamilton and see if you can find someone who seems to know what he or she is talking about and ask him or her. The PSR looks like a super cool watch, and I'm pretty envious of the rich guys who could afford it. I'll have a real watch review next week. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and please hit the thumbs up.